Welcome to a Global Citizen Year webinar on fellow insurance coverage. My name is Mark Seidel, U.S. Health and Safety Manager for Global Citizen Year. I'd like to take a little bit of your time to talk about our insurance coverage, which is called core insurance. We'll discuss what's covered, what's not covered, upgrade options available to you, and then talk a little bit about what happens during emergency, what costs are covered, and most importantly, how to submit for a reimbursement claim. Core Insurance is our insurance administrator, and they work with two companies, Europe Assistance, who provides the medical assistance during emergency and confirms quality of care, and Access Global, who's the insurance company underwriter. Every fellow who participates in Global Citizen Year is automatically covered in our basic core travel insurance plan. That provides 100% of emergency medical evacuation costs and has a limit of $50,000 for medical expenses over the course of the year. So this is a great insurance coverage option that every fellow should utilize when needed. Everyone can see a doctor and fully submit those costs for reimbursement. One thing to note, for U.S. fellows, you will not be covered while in the United States. So for our non-U.S. fellows who attend our trainings here in the U.S., you will be covered during that time. So when you are in your country domicile, you are not covered under core insurance. It kicks in once you are traveling internationally. Here's some benefits of the core plan. And most importantly, what's not covered is any sort of routine medical care. So proactive visit to a doctor for a checkup or a physical, any sort of vaccinations or already prescribed medications are not covered under the plan. And the insurance coverage, as I mentioned, only applies while you are outside of your country of domicile. So for non-U.S. fellows, that does include training here in the U.S. in the first week and last week of the program. For U.S. fellows, that would start once you arrive or depart the United States and arrive in our program countries of Ecuador, Brazil, Senegal, or India. Pre-existing conditions may be covered if they are stable prior to departure. So if you have a pre-existing condition and suddenly things start changing while you're in country and need to see a doctor, you have not had any problems prior for 30 days, then that would be covered. If you had any sort of changes or instability prior to departure within 30 days, then that could mean that your pre-existing condition would not be covered while in country. Upgrade options are available. As I'd mentioned, every fellow is covered in the basic plan. However, if you foresee higher incidence of cost or other things like that, then you may want to discuss with your doctor, and you can discuss with Global Citizen Year any upgrade options that are available to you. And here's some other examples of why some families do choose to upgrade. As I mentioned, that $50,000 limit is a lot of money in country. However, if you do have any concerns, then that would be an option available for you. And then any sort of trip interruption or lost baggage also kicks in with these upgrade options. And you can learn a whole lot more on coretravelinsurance.com. Another thing to note, these upgrade options are available to you up into departure. So once a non-U.S. fellow has arrived in the United States, they can no longer upgrade. And once a U.S. fellow departs the United States, then they can no longer upgrade. So now we'll change gears and talk a little bit about what happens during an emergency. During an emergency, and they do come up over the course of an 8-month program, typically staff are notified or alerted through the emergency hotline in country. And we here at Global Citizen Year, we define an emergency as when an expedited response is required and or an overnight hospitalization occurs. And our number one priority during any emergency is the fellow's health and safety. So during this time, if it's a major emergency, our staff members will open a case with Europe Assistance. Our staff will work closely with Europe Assistance to confer with them and the local attending physicians to make sure that the quality of care is at the utmost best quality. And then primary emergency contacts will be notified during Global Citizen Year staff. While we always do our best to inform primary emergency contacts during emergency, sometimes during confidential reasons, we will defer to the fellow. And then also, we would never delay care in the event an emergency surgery were ordered and approved. We would go ahead with that attending physician confirmed by Europe Assistance prior to any sort of confirmation with emergency contacts back home. And again, this is in a best effort to give the fellow the best care possible. So covering costs. Emergencies, while they do come up, are rare in our program. Typically, we see more of the non-emergencies. So these would be the bruises, rashes, maybe some GI illnesses, things like that, that are normal outpatient care. So a fellow should always be prepared to pay out of pocket and then submit for reimbursement. During those more major emergencies, ideally, we will do our best to confirm a guarantee of payment with the hospital so a fellow can avoid paying those larger bills out of pocket. However, some hospitals do not accept that guarantee of payment from our insurance, and then an out-of-pocket cost would be needed, and then that would be required to submit for a reimbursement. So we strongly encourage and require all fellows to have at least $100 US dollars available either in US dollars or in local currency at all times. So we would never want to delay care or have someone not go to a doctor out of concern for finances. Please talk to your staff member if this is a concern, and please always be prepared to pay for that under $100 out-of-pocket fee, and then you can file for a full reimbursement through core insurance, which I'll discuss in these next upcoming slides. Please note the fellow is responsible for collecting all receipts, bills, and other documentation to submit for the reimbursement. These reimbursements must happen within 90 days of receiving care, and most of these claims will be reviewed and reimbursed within 6 to 8 weeks. For non-US fellows without a bank in the United States, you may request a direct deposit wired to your bank, wherever that may be, but please note that there is a $25 processing fee. How to submit a claim. So as with all information for core insurance, you can find on our family portal and also on the coretravelinsurance.com website. Fellows need to send a completed claim form and the original medical bills, again, within 3 months of the services rendered. You'll be doing this ideally via email, so this would be taking a picture of those original bills, and regardless which way, if you do email, fax, or mail, please keep copies for personal records in the event things get lost or delayed, that you have personal records to back up your claim. This information about where to send is on the claim form. And as I mentioned, email is the best option for keeping track of your records and also for time. This reimbursement process, how to file for reimbursement and log into your core account, is available on the family portal. You could take the time to pause the video here and take a look. But this is all the basics about how to go through the process and what to do to file for a reimbursement. So if you have any questions, you can find the core insurance frequently asked questions, the claim form, an example claim form, and the directions of how to submit a claim are at the below sites. So all these resources and information are available to you at the family portal, which is at theglobalcitizenyear.org/family-portal/site, and then also the core website, which is at coretravelinsurance.com. And as always, for our non-urgent questions, you can feel free to reach out to fellow support